and we will be discussing our assignment's focus, which is cross-cultural teams. As you can see from our table of contents, we will be going through four main topics of this presentation, which would begin discussing what is cross-cultural teams, and then addressing its barriers and advantages, where my teammate Jing Xuan and Nigel will present. Then we'll move on to our team's business case, which is Sequential and Fujitsu, where my colleague Dream will be discussing what we learned from the case. Our team will then be moving on to recommendations that we have identified from cross-cultural teams and the business case of Sequencer and Fujitsu, where my colleagues Van, Nagia, and Belgindia will be discussing about. And lastly, a conclusion will be made by myself in discussing what we have learned from this unit. So, cross-cultural teams from Neely's article is actually a definition of a combination of the best functional expertise from candidates around the world. What this means is that we could take on the benefits of an internationally diverse group of people and bringing them in together from different cultures and work experience and having them produce a much more effective strategies and also overcoming challenges as an organization. I'll now pass on to my teammate Jing Shen, who will discuss the next slides. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I will introduce these four barriers that cross-cultural teams are facing. The first one is distance and time difference. Cross-cultural teams extensively adopting an online office, so members may be in different countries and have time difference, which makes collaboration more difficult. And remote working makes it hard to establish informal relationships between members, which can lead to poor team cohesion. And the second barrier is language barrier. It's also the most common barriers in cross-cultural communication, but it's easy to solve as we learn English as a second language so we can understand each other. It's greatly reducing the language barriers. And of course, it's impossible to express as accurately in our native language. So we may have some misunderstandings. And the third barrier is that individuals from different backgrounds has different level of willingness to communicate. For example, Chinese and American has different willingness because American is using Eurocentric style, which values individual thought and action. So this style encourages people to express their idea directly, but the Asian-centric communication style values silence. And the last barrier is members have different communication style, which are separated into high context and low context cultures. High context culture is indirect, harmonious, and reserved. Low context communication is direct and open. It's easy to lead to misunderstanding and conflict when members have different styles. Then our member Nigeria will discuss the advantage of cross-cultural teams.
Thank you. So the cross-cultural teams bring many benefits for the organization. So these are the three major benefits. First of all, since cultural teams are consist of members with different culture and background, and we all know that conflict drives innovation. Therefore, when working, the team constantly drive innovative strategies and new ideas thanks to friendly conflict. Secondly, the team can have a wise perspective toward the current market with multidimensional insight. And last but not least, cross-cultural teams bring benefit for the organization due to the ability of attracting and retaining the best talent from around the world. So Dream will help me with providing a case study of cross-cultural team.
Thank you. Yeah. For our business case, Sekinsa Fujitsu, in Spain, the arrival of mass retail banking occurred in the early 1980s. At first, they decided to request and automate teller machines from IBM, but the North American multinational company imposed a series of conditions that led to the management team to consider other options. The most seriously considered alternative was the Japanese multinational company Fujitsu. After that, the general manager of La Caixa, the saving bank company in Spain, paid a preliminary visit to the Japanese Post Saving Bank, which used Fujitsu ATM adapt for use with both card and passbook. As a result of this early contact, in 1981, a company commissioned visit Japan to work out an agreement with Fujitsu. In 1983, the result in collaboration agreement with Seikasa Fujitsu became the supplier of the new ATMs. From then on, Fujitsu took on a truly relevant dimension in all of Europe. Let's move on to the conflicting strategy of Sekensa. The various factors impacting the organization are perceived to fail. One of the significant is the difference in culture and language. Both parties had to rely on English to communicate with another, but the lack of fluency did not help for effective communications, caused frustration by the Japanese team as they could not express their true feeling in English. Bernard felt that the Japanese team approached interpersonal relations with our business all the time. Another point that could be observed was cultural. Benny felt that the Japan team were looking down on their tradition and custom, cause Japanese team question work ethic of the Japanese due to excessively long meals and time away from work. As well as Japanese culture is based on business with formality and confidence, and the Spanish culture is more relaxed when it comes to business without too much formal treatment. For the management section, Japanese use consensual decision process that require considerable time, but Bernard prefers senior manager to make decisions autocratically. In manufacturing, Fujitsu managers maintain strict control over production process to ensure quality control and prevent limitation. Next, I will pass to Wan for the recommendations.
Thank you, Dream, for the explanation of the case study. And here we come to three recommendations for the case study of Senkosa. First of all, it's about the global mindset. Second is accept leadership style. And third is the flash structures. And first for the global mindset, and we come to the definition of the global mindset first. So the global mindset means is the respect and work with multicultural diversities. Five factors that become a global mindset is defined by broad and multiple diversities perspective and dual balance between the conflicts and the teamwork in the diversities and the drenchings as opportunities. Finally, is open to what is new, like the open mindset. And in conclude, having a global mindset would bring people to become a global managers. That means it's the approach of problem solving and the abilities of understand different of mindset while working in the cross-cultural teams. Next is the strategies of the global mindset that can apply to the values of the Senkosa. First of all is the ability to balance between the contractions. That means the Japanese and the Spanish need to have the balance between their misunderstanding of cultures. And next, they can value and accept and respect their difference in the cultures. And they need to have the understand of the importance of the cultural perspective. Moreover, is they having an open mindset with the different culture style and different cultures perspective. And next is the find the positive in the team working with the multicultural team. It will tell about the accept leadership style.
Thank you, Vong. From the case study, both parties failed the collaboration due to holding assumption toward other and lack of preparation and understanding. Therefore, leaders should always prepare for possible challenge encounter, such as language and cultural differences. Furthermore, in order to successfully manage a cross-cultural team, leaders should have an open mindset toward each member's cultural difference with respect, empathy, and understanding.
So last recommendation is the flash structure. Flash structure simply means that to have fewer levels of management, and it eliminates the traditional way of a hierarchy in an organization. So flat structure distributes the power of decision making, and moreover, the control on ground level employees is more effective, and it takes less time to take decision. And from the case study of Senkosa, it has been mentioned that decision making process undertaken by both the partners differed, as Spaniards lost their patience over time conceived by Japanese for decision making process, whereas Japanese wanted to have a consensual decision process which required considerable time. And Spaniards preferred decision taken by their managers directly and should take less time. And not only this, the performance of Spaniards was slow as they wasted more time on long breaks. So there were the kind of problems existing in the Senkosa, and this kind of problems can be simply solved by keeping the structure flat. And one more problem I missed to mention is that they were looking on one another's cultural values, and they were having a less communication with one another. So flash structure helps in improving coordination and communication. So it simply blends the employees with one another, and the decision making process is fast, And moreover, it also could have improved employees' responsibility inside management instead of looking down at one another's traditions and customs, as in case of Senkosa employees. So that was all about the flat structure. Now I would like to pass it to the Augustine to discuss upon the conclusion.
Yeah, so thank you, Berginda. So, in conclusion, from what we discussed about cross-cultural teams and the business case of Sequenza and Fujitsu, the key takeaway for our presentation would be the important factors such as cultural values, perceptions, manners, social structure, decision-making process, and communications that are fundamental to the success of a cross-cultural team. In achieving these factors, companies and MNCs can gain benefit when they initiate globalization at a higher level and through their operations. We learned that the advantages of cross-cultural teams do outweigh its disadvantages. An example is that our team that were randomly assigned to work on this assignment, and we were able to work together cohesively in preparation for this presentation. I thank you guys for our time, and we'll now move on to Q&A. Thank you.